Well, whilst I do agree with Clefable, I honestly think Alolan Raiju needs to be put on the list. I think if you're going to have Miraide on there, Alolan Raiju should also be there. I think they're the top two best attackers in the game. And what we see from these teams so much, and would not surprise me if we see it right now, Alex, is the fact that they build great front lines to allow their ranged attackers to do what we saw in the previous set with Caden on that Alolan Raiju.
Yeah, I mean, we saw how good Alolan Raiju. So I would agree. I mean, we talked about this before, and now that Lobo's not here, I can say this freely. Tano, you were 100% right, because it is in fact true that Espeon is not even within the top 3, brother. There's Mew. Mew's in the background saying, "Am I a joke to you?" Miraidon and Alolan Raiju are like, "Are we not even in existence? Because what do you mean that?" So Tano, you're 100% on the spot there. But as we're looking at the bans, we are eliminating Scythe, Charizard, Miraidon, and Leafeon, Mega Lucario, and the Suicune for the side of Spinal.
What I do like about this is that tells me that both these two teams know each other very well. To take a Cypher out of this game, buddy, you know what you're coming up against. I mean, look at the squad on the side of Spinal. Very excited to see how they compete against Karasunodex, who, by the way, have defeated BH3 already in this set today, and they are probably the strongest team in EU right now.
Yeah, I mean, to see that just be taken out, again, Latam has been a region that's just been up and coming. They have made their statement known, especially as the World Series champs, the Pokemon Unite Series champs this last year. It just goes to show that Latam is that much more threatening than I think other people have decided. But for the side of Spinal, Pure, one of the better defenders, if not the best defenders North America has, very tactful mind, and Vin Diesel picking up a Mimikyu, a Pokemon that they know like the back of their hand, is going to be put into play.
That is also a very ambitious place to pick up Mimikyu. Usually it's more of a responsive Pokemon, seeing what the other team go for. So Spinal, they know what they want to play, and they're going straight for it from the get-go. Because Blaziken, whilst, yeah, Mimikyu's going to have a good job at stopping it with the Unite move, you're not going to win that matchup most of the time. So Spinal are going to pull out the Lucario here as well. Eldegoss is going to be the support Pokemon that they go for. Just waiting for that last pick to be the big damage dealer.
I mean, their name might be Unk OG, but they are sticking with their OG, as in Season 1, when OG was part of IX Gaming, they were the Lucario player. It was them and Overlord in North America. JL being a support player right up the alley, but I'm most excited to see what Flareon's is going to pick, because their attacking roster is huge. And I'm sorry, is that a Machamp and a regular Pikachu that I am seeing for the side of Karasunodex?
Bro, I thought regular Pikachu didn't exist anymore. I mean, Raichu's not even banned. It was right there, bro. But if he was going to pick up the OG, Flareon's is going to bring out that Alolan Raichu. What a set they have. And Champ Cena is going to take to the field here as Karasunodex are going to rain it out with the double all-rounder combo, buddy. What a comp we have from these squads.
Oh, a comp indeed, and maybe I'm gonna pull the curtain back a little bit, and maybe this might get me fired from this gig, but I actually spoke to Flareon, because Flareon was like, what Pokemon should I play? And I said, Jungle Hoopa. And then, I don't know if you saw, Flareon was actually hovering over Hoopa with the full damage build. And now I immediately said, please don't, and just please don't. Because I know Flareon's on a very good personal level, which again, we're gonna try to keep that out of the cast. But just so you know, there was a smidgen of, Tano, you look so different these days. You look very handsome. You've always been handsome. But that being said, Flareon's, there was a smidgen chance that we were going to see a Jungle Hoopa, and I apologize because that 100% I would have taken the blame on.
All right, now it's time for... Yeah, there we go. There we go. I was waiting for it, buddy. This man knows me. Here we go. I love what we're seeing here, buddy, as we get ready to kick off this game. We've got production in my ear saying speak for now. I don't know if it's Lobo or it's me. Either way, this is going to be one heck of a set. Seeing a Champ Cena coming out on the field, buddy, looking at that comp on the side of Dex, it looks like it's going to be the central laner.
I mean, I will say that I love seeing Machamp do what it's able to do. It's not a Pokemon we see too often, and especially when it comes to competitive play. But being able to see it now in a competitive scene here, especially, you know, it's the INGAGE Ultra Series, day number 1. We have Pikachu heading down to the bottom path with the Crustle. Meanwhile, Pure, we're gonna see double Pikachu in the bottom path.
They're actually putting the Blaziken into the central area here. This is so interesting, and I love it. As we see the OG looking to get some stats right out of the gate here. Karasunodex are on a bit of a back foot as Spinal finds some
Yeah, good stack in general. Look at Unk. They are putting a show. They might be the Unk, but they are absolutely being an anchor to this team. The stack OG is getting so quickly. They are a mastery of this Pokemon. And the way JL and these two are working together, they stole all the farm. I do agree with you, though, Tano. Taking the Blaze to the path, get that combustion for this early engage is going to be very valuable.
Yeah, we see Mimikyu here as well. Those Natus at the early, looking to see if they can get an Evo onto the Umbreon, and that's exactly what Spinal managed to do. And now they're going to come to the top lane ready for these 850s. The INGAGE is going to be here. Good push also from the Blaziken. It's going to be Spinal that come out on top by a hair of their feathers.
Wow, what a placement by Pure and OG. No, not OG. That was Vin Diesel. Just having that just guerrilla warfare tactic at the ready. But now they're going to try to pivot around. Trying to set up a little bit of a rock. Meanwhile, Vin Diesel's pulling up. They're getting all threaded together. They are being Pure as the man on the call, pushing them away. And right now, Spinal is coming out with a blazing glory.
This is aggression for aggression's sake, and I'm completely on board with it, as Spinal will not let go of that pressure, as Karasunodex are struggling a little bit here, nearly at a 100-point difference on the board. Still a donut store open here for the Latam team, and Spinal will not let them move, Alex, as they find a double KO here as well, looking to see if they can take down the Machoke as they finally get a stack.
Man, we might be watching a different show here, because Vin Diesel and OG are just spamming around, just teleporting everywhere. This does go to show, though, that Vin Diesel does prefer the Shadow Sneak set. Meanwhile, here comes Flareon's going in with the A-Press's stored power. This could be another converging point. Scores are going in. Vin Diesel does not have their Unite move, and Karasunodex is just going to need a fight for another day, because they're going to give this up. But already with 3 minutes into the game, Spinal is leading 178-8.
I gotta say, I do not like the matchup of the two Pikachus. I don't know why Karasunodex didn't go for the Raichu and went for the OG Pikachu. It just lacks. I mean, if you're not gonna go for the Volt Tackle Electro Ball, because they've gone for the Mage build, which, you know, is my favorite build on Pikachu, but it just lacks compared to the Raichu, and we're seeing that right now. It's all the all-rounders on the side of Karasunodex that are trying to keep them in this, as Crystal goes in here as well, but look at Lucario blitzing through the team, buddy. That's the power of E-Speed. Oracan is going to come out. What can a Mage Pikachu do against the power of E-Speed Lucario?
The E-Speed is on the loose, and OG is masterful on it. The Blaziken was able to get the overheat, so the Regieleki did go to the side of Karasunodex, but right now, Spinal is in complete control of everything. They barely have their Blissey for the side of Karasunodex. Machamp is still not on the line. The only player that can do things right now is the Blaziken, and an odd choice that I'm noticing is the Pikachu is actually Thunderbolt Thunder into E-Speed Lucario. Definitely has me scratching my head a little bit.
I mean, there's so much maneuverability on the side of Spinal that is so difficult. Volt Tackle Electro Ball would be much better here because of the fact that they've got Mimikyu, Lucario. They've got more power, Alolan Raichu, Alex. It couldn't be any easier for Spinal right now as they get a 2 KO streak again, and they've already given themselves 170 points in the lead that they're not even considering breaking that T1 and giving more experience to Karasunodex.
This is level IQ 1000. They don't want to give those extra EXP that they don't need to give up. Pure's on the call, though. Blaziken and Blissey are together, but Pure doesn't care. Bliss assist does not even get to connect. Oh, geez. Firing the Aura Cannon. E-Speeds. This Pikachu is trapped into the dungeon, and now they're trying to get this Crustle Bustle Hustle. But Spinal is on an absolute tear. Points are raining from the sky. It's not raining men. It's raining Aos. As finally Machamp enters the fray. Cotton Cloud Crash lands on them, and Vin Diesel's able to get 3 KOs. Blaziken is pushed back. Blissey is trying to make a stance for the team, and they're trying to land the Bliss Assist on the Crustle. OG is living on a sliver, finally taken down, and Vin Diesel and the rest of the squad are going to need to fight for another day, but 214 to 72. Decent KOs for the side of Karasunodex.
Yeah, what I will say is that Spinal did the most Spinal thing here. They stayed way too long on that pad, buddy. And this is the issue when you are so ahead in a game, you're so confident in your abilities that you give over experience. And they absolutely just did that now that Lucario went down. They managed to get hold of the Elder Goss. They get the Registeel on the side of Spinal, but they've now got level of levels on the side of Karasunodex here as they look to push onto this Regieleki. They're going to take it, and they are back in this game, managing to score points, looking for the KOs as Mimikyu is going to fall. Spinal are actually on the back foot of this now.
Yeah, I mean, the confidence can really be a detriment, but it could also be the gales of wind for focus. And right now, Spinal stayed way too long, spent a little too much time, gave up a lot of catch-up EXP. And now if you look at the game state as a whole, 254 to 157, but the levels are a little bit more on a parity. Their levels are there. They are reaching their level spikes that they need for the side of Karasunodex. So Spinal is going to need to decide how they want to approach this. They do have a lead, but again, aggression and too much of it can really lead to your downfall.
They've got a minute 20 before we have Groudon take to the field right now. The state of the game is very even. Looks like Spinal wants to take more experience away from Karasunodex here. They've wisely backed up to their pad. It feels like both these teams, they're just going to be constantly going at each other until Groudon takes to the field. A nice 40 dunk coming in here, and that score lead is cut down once again.
Oh, geez, trying to surf around, trying to get the Machamp to release its Unite move. Again, they did get reworked, if people forget, because we don't see this Pokemon. The moment you fire off the Unite move, it's going off. You don't get to reposition it, but OG is repositioning for a big, whopping KO. And OG's going to need to be a big leader here. Pure is the captain, though. They are the shot caller. They are a person who is just giving the team vision to execute a plan of action. And once again, Spinal's positioning themselves very aggressively.
I like this aggressive positioning. Pure is in the perfect position to displace them coming in to that choke point. And what I do like is that Karasunodex, they're going to struggle here, buddy. They got a level 14 Mimikyu on the side of Spinal. And on top of that, you've not been able to get close to Flareon's on the stored power Raichu here. So all of it is on the side of Spinal as Groudon now takes to the field. Karasunodex are actually more passive here as they look to get more experience.
Yeah, they've realized what they're up against. Spinal is not a team you can just unga wunga bunga in, because they will counteract. Most team fights have been going. Oh, and look at the great use of the Shadow Sneak. It's not necessarily meant always to just start an engagement. It is to give vision. You reveal where some of these players are, and Vin Diesel's doing a fantastic job. Meanwhile, Karasunodex just trying to stick together, but the time is running out. They're going to need to make a play.
They got to find a pick, and they got to find it quick time. I mean, it is a very close game. T1 goals are still up on both sides here. Could come down to a back cap. They're being so patient right now, just waiting to see who actually is in the lead, because you've got to work out with the points right now. With 50 more on the side of Spinal, they're quite happy just sitting here and waiting for Karasunodex to make the move. So they're going to put some damage onto Groudon here, try and see if they can bait Spinal into this right now, but they've got to get a pick. If they don't, I'm not sure the teammate's going to go their way. In fact, they're going to go onto the ground and for the rip now, buddy. They do have the Blaziken, and we're going to see the barrage blow coming through as well. Cotton Crown Glash is going to go on through, but it's going to be Spinal that finds it, and they obliterate Karasunodex's line as well. It's just Blaziken and Crustle left. Spinal will find them and score the Hundo Burgers.
You'll love to see Pure just being so patient. Pure was there the entire time, patiently waiting, just very much ice in their veins because they were the one to get the secure on the ready. That is the power of Pure. Rise up, defenders and support players, because Pure is representing them in the purest form as Spinal is able to take game one against Karasunodex. A great job overall, but I don't know about you, the Spinal just was all over Karasunodex, which is again surprising knowing that Karasunodex was the team that 2-0'd BH3, which is the old Gen 5.
Yeah, it's kind of left me thinking how strong of a team is Spinal in this right now. I mean, we had the talks, didn't we, behind the scenes about how strong this squad is. They are probably one of the strongest here, especially on the NA side, but it's all about the team synergy, and it feels like it worked an absolute treat for them in that game, buddy. It was uncontested. Karasunodex were on the back foot until Spinal were the ones that overstayed their welcome and got them back into the game.
Yeah, I mean, without question, we're going to bring in our lovely analyst, Lobo, to kind of break things down of what they saw. But man, it was just so exhilarating to see how Spinal was able to just be dominant. And that's the big question, right? I mean, for me, other than Vin Diesel just throwing those shadow sneaks out, for me, the biggest playmaker was OG. The way they were just e-speeding, shredding through the team, the movement, the bone rushes, the resets, everything was just going right for OG. And I've always said this, look at Flareon's damage that he took. That is the lower that your damage that your attacker takes is a bigger story. That means Pure was always there. OG was always in the fray. So was JL. Flareon's, like you said, was quite literally untouchable.
And these are the matchups that we talk about, though, buddy, which is why I was so surprised to see Ibu pick up the OG Pikachu. Because right now in this game, no matter which way you look at it, they are a couple of Pokemon that are outshined by a much better Pokemon that does its very job. Alolan Raichu, way better than Pikachu, does its job better. Suicune, way better than Alolan Ninetales, does its job better. You see so many Pokemon in the game right now that is like that, which is why I was so surprised to see them actually give the Alolan Raichu over to Flareon's. That was the last pick, bro. That's what I'm so surprised at. And Lobo is going to be coming on the mic, buddy. Let us know your opinion about that game.
Yeah, I want to hear all that Lobo has to say. I even have my glasses because I want to be so studious at Lobo's knowledge. Let me learn a thing or two.
Part of the main kind of thing in the room for me is this was lost at draft. When we have a look at the order that Spinal was drafting right now, Pure went first with Umbreon, then Vin Diesel with Mimikyu, then OG with Lucario. And now when you look at that, it's just, what are you doing? You need to find a way to really stop that. Mimikyu with the Shadow Claw and the Shadow Sneak doesn't work. Why wasn't Clefable picked up here? I know Blissey was picked up, but again, I've always said this, that the AoE healing is much better than the single version healing. This is why I always take a Clefable over a Comfey. The Safeguard is great on Blissey, but what on that team is CCing you apart from the Umbreon? You're really not going to need Safeguard in this competition for Blissey. Unfortunately, we saw the Mage Pikachu come out. I think even if you do Volt Tackle here, what are you going to do against an E-Speeding Lucario? The OG is OG for a reason. He's Unk OG for a reason, and that E-Speeding Lucario was absolutely fantastic. So it was a great player. I do want to ask Flareon's why they decided to go Stored Power. Just a quick question. But guys, enjoy game number 2. I'll be back to give you my thoughts.
Thank you so much, Lobo. I really appreciate that breakdown. And yeah, I mean, I think the way that they were able to kind of get things going is the fact that they had a lot of the reason they went stored power is because they knew they already had enough movement. They didn't really need to set those traps. And they looked at the opposition saying, they don't have movement. They can't catch me. I can just stay in the back, press A, and do plenty of damage. Because that's the thing. Stored power can still be played, but you have to look at the composition. And I think Lobo said it best. This game was lost at draft.
Yeah, I think a part of the stored power there as well is because, I mean, when you see a Machamp come on the field, Zero, it's always submission. You always expect submission to come out of Machamp nowadays, and the fact that they didn't is quite interesting. You know, it kind of tells the story as to what their thinking was, because they went for the movesets you don't expect to see, with the Pikachu, with the Machamp. So, but this is a team that has defeated BH3, who won the recent Unite Legends Showdown. They've won plenty of weeklies here in the EU region, one of the strongest teams here, so they've got something up their sleeve. I just think this one was maybe feeling out Spinal a little bit. We saw the ban come in with the Cypher, for example, so they understand the kind of Pokemon that they need to take out, and it feels like they were kind of feeling them out a little bit here. But you've now given Spinal, a massive team in NA, a huge advantage. They're currently a game up.
Yeah, having a game up is always going to be valuable for any team, but yeah, it does feel like Karasunodex was trying to just feel things out a little bit, kind of see where things are going. Again, the fact that they took down BH3 Esports, that's not an easy feat to do in a 2-0 fashion, mind you. So Karasunodex, I think, went with something a little bit safe, and maybe arguably a little too safe, because even looking at their team, they didn't really have a lot of rip available to them. So, but that is going to be a story for another time. As we're getting into game number 2, similar bans are already starting off with this. Again, last time it was Spinal that banned out the Mega Lucario. Leafeon is definitely a target ban for somebody on the side of Karasunodex. Don't know exactly who, and this time they're gonna let Blissey end up on the chopping block.
Yeah, I think you can never complain about a pink blob getting banned out, to be fair. All of them are worthy of a ban, whether it's Blissey, Clefable, or even Mew, to be honest. Spinal, they're going to stick with their plans here. I mean, they don't have to ban the Mega Lucario, as Karasunodex has done that. Leafeon gone. Suicune continues to be gone. A Crustle ban, Alex? It's about time, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one for sure. I don't know if I necessarily agree with banning out. Yes, Pure is a player who plays it, but they're most well known in North America for Umbreon and Snorlax. Those are Pure's, like, quite literally his 2 aces up his sleeve when it comes to defenders. But Karasunodex opting to take the Charizard X, and we're kind of going to be able to see if what Bridget was saying is still accurate, right? I agreed with her 100% that Charizard X is still relatively easy to deal with, and OG's gonna go with another ace. These are 2 Pokemon, knowing though the question is, will they take what Lobo said? Because both of these Pokemon get countered relatively easy, because these 2 Pokemon for OG and Vin Diesel are just absolute classic aces for them.
Well, what I love about them is they are 2 Pokemon that directly counter Charizard X, and I think that's brilliant from Spinal. You know, you can use that Unite move as much as you want. Play With Me is going to shut it down straight away, take most of that damage away for the time that's in. So I love that response from Spinal. Pure is going to pull out the Snorlax here. It is interesting because Karasunodex were the ones that played Crustle in that previous game. It wasn't even Spinal that went for it, but now they take the Umbreon away. They do have the Hooper, which is always going to be one of the strongest supports in the game, especially with those rotations, buddy. But right now, it feels like Spinal have the much better comp again.
Once again, yeah, it just feels like OG's going to be able to counter the Charizard, especially if it's able to get to level 5. I mean, Flareon's is very well known to play Mew, so this could be a takeaway pick, but Flareon's just has so many Pokemon available up their sleeve.
Ooh.
Okay, a little bit more mobility. Oh, Flareon's, grant me one wish, and it would be to play Inteleon, because he might have a speaker into what I'm saying directly, because in North America there is no one better on Inteleon than Flareon's. It is him in North America. I do kind of like that Akana is using a speedster in a team composition that doesn't have necessarily the best mobility like they did in game number 1.
Yeah, I quite like the Absol here. I think the Absol is a genius pick by Karasunodex, and you know, I mean, Flareon's has to have some pressure put onto them here, but we know how strong of an Inteleon player they are. The only way that you can really counter Inteleon players is by putting that pressure onto them to make them have to be constantly on the move. You can't let them get set, and I like the fact that Absol is capable of at least getting close to them, because the front line that Spinal has right now, realistically, is going to be that Snorlax and that Buzzwole to protect Flareons. It's all about what Arcane can do here on the pursuit to finally put that pressure onto Flareons.
That's going to be the thing. Absol has a mission, and that mission is Operation Take Down the Bubble Spy Vision, Bubble 07, if you will. The question is, will they be able to? I don't know about you. I'm still kind of scratching my head. While I do agree that Hoopa is one of the best supports, a big counter would have been Clefable. Clefable, Gravity, immediately shuts down Mimikyu and Buzzwole. They cannot use their moves. So I understand that Hoopa's very powerful, and I will respect that. But when Clefable's just sitting right there to counter two big carries on the team, I'm gonna scratch my head a little bit again.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you, bro. I mean, you're never going to complain about Hoopa because the Unite move is just one of the best in the game for a reason. But I'm with you. Clefable, like, would have been so good here, even on both sides, to be honest, especially trying to stop that Absol. So I'm so surprised that no one has gone for it. As we see the game break off here, we do have an interesting lane in either side. Bottom lane, though, I think Spinal's probably got the advantage.
Yeah, especially having the Sobble in the early game. And look, OG has already forced the X speed out. This is kind of what Spinal's known for. They're not only known for being aggressive, OG in particular is known to be very aggressive, and it might be their detriment, but they're able to get the KO and eject away. This is why OG is the OG all-arounder player who just does so much for a team, because there's no way in my mind did I think they were going to get out of that alive.
That's illegal, bro. I don't understand what we just witnessed. That's ridiculous effort from Unk there, as they do manage to take quite a bit of this farm as well. We do now have Umbreon on the field, though, for Karasunodex. Not going to be an easy target, as it looks like they are going for the Snarl here as well. They're going to get reset as Mimikyu is taken down here. Karasunodex trying to see if they can get aggressive with it, going in with the foul play, but doesn't find OG.
Yeah, Karasunodex, I think, was predicting the fact that Spinal was going to pull their trickery again and being able to get what they need to be. But look at Flareon's just confirming everything, taking a little bit of damage, of course. But like you said, having Sobble, Drizzle, like just having those crits just makes things so much easier to confirm. But great job by Karasunodex to predict that Spinal was going to send 4 up, and they were able to counter it.
I mean, they've now got level 5, though, on their Buzzwole, close to level 6. This is the levels that they're looking for. It's all about whether they can get the levels onto that Charizard right now on the side of Karasunodex. As Spinal continue to get aggressive down here in the bottom lane. They do take that Regidrago. That's going to be huge for them as OG scores a 30 dung here. It is a level battle right now.
Oh, level battle indeed. Good Solar Beam, though, coming out for the Mew. Absol trying to find its target. OG doesn't want to be able to be, or not OG, that's been Diesel, pardon. Just sent out the Shadow Sneak. Wants to be a little bit careful. Inteleon is still not online just yet. A good KO or a decent amount of XP could be what Flareon's is waiting for. His teams are kind of set ready for these birds.
I mean, as soon as they come in, as soon as they go. Karasunodex here looking to see if they can hit that Unite move, ready for the 7-minute mark on the side of their Absol. This is not an easy task, as Spinal are getting prepared in the top lane as well. We see the Regieleki about to spawn on in. Both of them are going to go for this, as Jolteon's is going to go for the rip from the get-go. Knows that the Absol is here, though. The defense from OG here. They dive on in with a Psycho Cut, but it's going to be Buzzwole that takes it. Umbreon sent back to Nurse Joy, as Spinal will not let go. They dive on in again. Absol trying to find any hit that they can, but that Lecky's gonna walk in, and now Spinal are gonna break this pad.
But they might be trying to max this out, and that's Vin Diesel on the Mimikyu, just kind of waiting it out, healing things up, getting stacks to maximize the amount of points you can get, and also just getting that extra damage for the side of OG. Pure and Flareons have just been holding the fort down, not even struggling a little bit, and this is why Pure and Flareons are such a good team. Pure is that commander-in-chief, able to make a lot of plays with those heavy slams, and Flareons is just always protected when big engagement is going to land on here. Shadow Sneak and OG is trying to pick up the Umbreon, but the rest of Karasunodex is going to be able to fight for another day, but all of Spinal is here to claim Regice.
Yeah, that's going to be uncontested. Mystical Mirage is going to be thrown here as well, trying to get through Pure as they hold them back with the block. It was a good effort from Karasunodex to get out of that traffic as they were held down. Spinal don't find the KOs that they're looking for, but they've got themselves an objective just as Mega Charizard X is ready on the field.
Mega Charizard, will you make a mega difference? Only one thing we'll tell right now, but Flareon's is just landing these shots pure, just soaking up all the damage. So Flareon's is just kind of free to move around, take some EXP away. They are just firing off these snipe shots. Eventually, they're getting hits, and Pure is just giving them that extra vision that this Inteleon needs to be able to make those plays.
Yet again, we've got a situation where Spinal, they have a ranged attacker that is completely uncontested. Karasunodex have not done their job so far. We're in the mid-game right now, and I don't think I've seen Flareons get taken down once, buddy. They're quite comfortable sat back here, allowing Pure to do all the scouting out that they can do, disrupting the portal here, and now they're going to see if they can hold them strong. We've got to watch out, though. Mega Charizard X is ready to go with their own Seismic Slam, but wisely decides not to do so, as Spinal takes a Regieleki.
See, this is what differentiates a good player from a great player. Knowing when they're going to portal out and disrupting it to keep them away. This way, Spinal was able to get the Regieleki without any reinforcements from Karasunodex. Cotton Cloud Crash going to try to survive a little bit longer. The block. JL and Pure are literally just playing distractions, not allowing this Hoopa and Mew to be a part of this engagement. Allows the Regieleki to crash on in, make itself home, and Spinal have taken down tier 2 in the top path. This game is so 1000 IQ for the side of Spinal.
They took that Regieleki before the 4-minute mark as well, which means we will have another one. Win condition will be on the board for Spinal, as all the Regirock looked like it was going to be stolen, but that is hit, and Karasunodex finally have themselves an objective. Rings are let loose here as we're going to do the roll call. Right now, Spinal seeing if they can defend this pad, buddy. Buzzwole manages to get out 1 HP and a dream. Power Nap comes out from Pure as they hold strong on this T1 pad, and Karasunodex are having to go on the retreat. Yet again, Flareon's is uncontested. Snipe shots land, and now Spinal go on the offensive.
That is an absolute reverse Uno card, but the Absol is back. Flareon's is going to be in a little bit of danger, though. Pure trying to keep the team together. OG, and we do see the Shadow Sneak kind of go out a little bit, and they get slammed around. This Charizard doesn't even have a way to survive. The defense from Spinal just slamming down a reverse Uno. Akane is going to try to get some points on in. OG tried to make it, and nothing hurts more than eject. Ultra Swole Slam, though, coming out with 1 minute remaining. OG's going to need to farm quite a bit if they want to make something happen, and Flareon's is there to kind of back them up. Meanwhile, Vin Diesel and Pure and JL holding things down on the bottom path.
Yet again, we've got a situation where Karasunodex have gone for the move I was not expecting, buddy. This Absol going for the Psycho Cut Night Slash is such an interesting decision because you need the maneuverability to get to Flareons, and you simply don't have that without Pursuit. And as we've seen, it just means Spinal are uncontested as OG yet again survives on 1 HP and a dream. The power of Shiku here on the Elder Gods.
Please tell me you saw that super power into where then like it was still finishing the move, and then you had the Inteleon snipe shot. Mega Charizard, who? They did not care one bit. They just said, what's a Mega Charizard? I don't know what that is. Is that a Pokemon? Because it's not good right now, but the rings are unbound here, Tano.
That they are. Roll call has to be done, and that is not an engage tool that you actually want to use. So they're going to be taken out very early in this game as the Regieleki is going to go into the home pad. And Spinal, they're very comfortable here, buddy, as they find more KOs. They're just going to sit, let this Groudon reset, sprint to score some hundo burgers, bro. And you know you have a consistent lead as they have to take the second team fight.
This is absolutely insane. Charizard's gonna try to get a little bit of a Dunkaroo going on. Mew gets taken down by Vin Diesel. Right now, Karasunodex is just looking absolutely abysmal. There's no way they just let Vin Diesel get this off. But Vin is gonna get the Hundo Burger off. Groudon might be the center of attention, but I don't think Spinal cares that much. Flareon's just firing off these shots. They are on fire. Mega Charizard is still available, and Flareon's from deep was able to get onto that Absol. Mega Charizard is online, but nobody cares because OG just takes them out, and Flareon's is gone absolutely bananas as these snipe shots are sent from one side of the map to another. Flareon's is unstoppable.
Bro, it's snipe shots from a different postcode here, and Karasunodex, they just cannot deal with it, bro. They don't have the heals, they don't have the front line, and they don't have the approach to take down Flareon's uncontested yet again in this game, as Spinal are going to defeat Karasunodex with a 2-0 victory.
Flareon's, please, they're already gone. A victory lap. They still get another Hundo Burger in. I cannot wait to talk to Lobo about this because these shots from Flareon's, the moment he is locked in, it's so over. They are just so good at threading the needle, predicting where their team is going to land their Pokemon, especially working in tandem with OG and Vin Diesel. Flareon's, I need to see how much damage you could take because there's no way it was that much because that was insane. And Spinal 2-0s the team that 2-0'd BH3, which again is unbelievable to me.
I think that's a very impressive showing from Spinal, buddy. I'd be surprised if Flareon's has taken 10k damage there, to be honest. Yet again, I feel like, 14k, so close. But that just shows you that your range attacker has done what needs to be done. I mean, the same on the side of Karasunodex, to be fair, looking at Ibu on that Mew, but just completely uncontested on the side of Flareon's. And that is the punishment you deserve if you cannot get on that Pokemon.
And you said it best, though, Tano. Again, the moveset was very, Because Pursuit, the mobility that you have to just kind of move around on a team that doesn't have the most movement this time around, and they opted to go for Night Slash. Yes, you can get critical hits. Yes, it can be good to slow things down with Psycho Cut. But when the team is there and you need fast mobility as a speedster to catch onto Flareon's, it's very hard to not realize that, like, this is the Pokemon you need to take out. And you can't get to Inteleon. But honestly, a great job by both of these teams, Tano.